Now I'll show you how to make this easy pattern alteration. You need the tracing of your shoulders, which is good indefinitely, or at least until your body changes, and the pattern you plan to alter. What we do is slide the armhole up or down until it meets your shoulder slope. Let's take a closer look at this. Lay the pattern over your tracing and compare the shoulder slopes. Make sure the center front lines either align or are parallel. You can tell at a glance if the shoulders are the same slant. If they aren't, draw a line with the correct slope on the pattern and measure the difference. In this case, the pattern shoulder slopes 7/16 inches more than the body. Draw an L-shaped line around the armhole. Keep the vertical line parallel to the center front and perpendicular to the horizontal line in the L. Make the line as close to the armhole as you can. Then cut the armhole from the body of the pattern along this line. You can either slide the armhole section up to match the right shoulder slope, or you can use the measurement you took of the difference and slide it that amount. If there is a gap in the pattern, fill it with paper and tape the pieces back together. True the shoulder slope line by drawing a new straight line, and then repeat the change by cutting and sliding the exact same amount on the back pattern piece. If you need to adjust the pattern in the opposite direction and increase the amount of shoulder slope, you follow these same directions, except instead of spreading the pattern, you overlap it. You've just seen how to make this alteration on a set-in sleeve pattern, but I want to show you how easy it is to use the same concept with different style sleeves, such as this dolman sleeve. This cut-on sleeve is sometimes also called a kimono sleeve. It's cut as part of the bodice and doesn't have an armhole, but adjusting the shoulder slope is the same process. In this case, you slide the sleeve because there is no armhole. Just draw the L-shaped line around the sleeve, taking part of the shoulder with it. Slide the whole sleeve up or down as needed for your alteration. Tape everything in place. And then true the shoulder seam. Repeat on the back pattern piece. Here's what you do when the armhole isn't in one piece. The example I'm using is a princess seam that ends in the armhole. It could be something else, such as a yoke or a bodice seam that breaks the armhole. You have to take all of the pieces into consideration. First, overlap the seam lines that will be sewn before a sleeve or facing is sewn. The garment might be sleeveless, but the process works the same way. Assemble the garment front pattern pieces that involve the armhole. Pin or tape them together. Then make the alteration just as before to either raise or lower the shoulder slope. If you raised the slope, you will need to slide in some paper where you spread the pattern. Separate the pattern pieces and true the seam allowances to fit. There you have it. Take the 5 minutes to trace your shoulders and check them on your next pattern. If you don't need a shoulder slope adjustment, you haven't lost much. But if you do need this adjustment, your sewing results will greatly benefit.